from the Liberal and National parties. Joining me live now, Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister Patrick Gorman and former Liberal MP Jason Falinski. Thanks both for your time. Jason, we've seen it in South Australia, we're going to see it in Farrer reports, it'll happen in Victoria. So is this your party saying they'd rather have one nation in a lower house than other parties, including Labor?
No, I don't think that's the case, Tom. I think what this is my party basically saying that it would rather see us in Parliament than any other party. But we are sick and tired of being the only party that plays by the rules. The Labor Party preferences the Greens, and by the way, your choice in tie colour has not gone unnoted by either Patrick or I today. But the fact remains that the Labor Party has preferenced the Greens over the Liberal Party for many, many years, and it is getting incredibly difficult to discern the difference between the behaviour of the Greens and the behaviour of One Nation.
So it's quid pro quo. You're essentially saying Labor, this helps Labor. Ultimately, it gets some Greens in Parliament but more Labor, and it's just time for you to do the same quid pro quo with One Nation, and you should do that at a federal level at the next election too?
Look, I think so. I think we should do whatever it takes to maximise the number of people that we can get elected to the lower and upper house. I mean, the Labor Party is not running in Farrer. But if they were, we all know that they would be preferencing the Teal candidate, Michelle Millthorpe. And frankly, Tom, I would have thought that the media, particularly in Canberra, who spend so much time complaining about how Australian politics is being polluted by money, would be slightly more interested in the amount of money that Climate 200 and the Teals are throwing at Farrer than they are in preference deals between the Liberal Party and One Nation. I mean, this is a group that is spending 15 times, Tom, what every other party combined is spending, while complaining about Gina Rinehart, who, as I understand, is yet to donate any money to this campaign. So, I mean, I think it's time that we
what's the confirmed donation? Well, here we go. You've got your opportunity now. What's the confirmed donation Climate 200 is spending on this by-election then?
What we can tell from the transparency logs both on Google and Meta is that the Climate 200 candidate, the Teal candidate, Michelle Millthorpe, has spent 15 times of all the other candidates combined, and that's not including...
But is that Climate 200 money?
That's not... Well, no, because she hasn't declared where she's getting her money. She's not telling us where she's getting her money for her campaign. So she preaches transparency.
So it is supposition.
But it's not supposition. It's not supposition to say, Tom, that she's spending 15 times as much money as all the other campaigns.
I said yes, but you said Climate 200.
Media.
You said Climate 200.
Yeah, she is. She is the candidate. That. You said she is the candidate. She's the candidate backed by Climate 200. Why are you being such a pedant on this issue? The important point here is that
it matters what you say. You can't say it's Climate 200 money without knowing it's Climate 200 money.
If they've given her, it matters that the Canberra Press Gallery.
That's just. Yes, but there is a difference, Jason, between how much the overall candidate spends and if you say it's Climate 200 money and how much is actually Climate 200 dollars. There is a difference between the two. You can't just say that candidate has spent X number of dollars, therefore that's Climate 200 dollars. That's not how it works.
Let me be very clear. That's not what I said. B, she is the candidate backed by Climate 200. C, on social media, according to Meta and Google transparency portals, she has spent 15 times what all the other campaigns combined have spent. D, we have heard for a very long time, Tom, out of the Canberra Press Gallery, that Australian politics is being polluted by money. Here we have an example of one candidate spending 15 times what all the other campaigns combined are spending on social media. On top of that, it doesn't include
on social media
all
is the other part
outside
of that asterisk.
Groups.
All right, I'm going to let Pat have a go. It's like watching Mum and Dad fight. Patrick, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Patrick.
Nice time.
For many years. For many years, well, you know, ties don't always have to mean political allegiance.
No, they don't.
I've got all sorts. I've got all the rainbow in my top drawer. Anytime someone's swinging by, they often borrow them. Gee, I'm getting sidetracked today. But, Pat, for many years you've said, oh, well, Liberal Party can't swap preferences with One Nation. That means they're endorsing them. Does that mean that Labor endorses the Greens? Because you've been swapping preferences with them for many years.
Oh, well, look, the question for the Liberal Party is, do they want to be a populist party or do they want to be a practical party? And what we're seeing from the Liberal Party time and time again is they're running to populist ideas rather than being a practical party of the centre. Now, that's a choice they can make and that's up to them. But Labor will always be a practical party. Now, we've had a long-standing position, which your viewers will be aware of, that for some 28 years we've put One Nation at the bottom. Now, for about a decade, the Liberal Party have been choosing to do these preference deals with One Nation. It hasn't always worked out that well for them, and I just point out that as a simple fact. I remember, one of the pioneering preference deals that the Liberal Party did with One Nation was here in Western Australia back in 2017. And the Liberal Party got absolutely thumped at that election. So it doesn't always work out well for the Liberal Party. But there's one thing where I think there does need to be a bit more scrutiny applied. Now, I think it's right, the position that Labor takes around putting One Nation last. But when it comes to these Climate 200-backed teal candidates, I often see that they do what we call an open ticket. That is, that they don't allocate their preferences at all. I actually think it's probably time that those teal independents start putting One Nation last. And if they're not going to do that, they need to explain why.
All right, but you do preference swap the Greens, so you find them, at a relative sense, an acceptable party. Is that fair to say?
Tom, if you look at my record, I'm in a fight where I've gone out and argued against people voting for the Greens party. I think the Greens, like One Nation,
sure, but you
are a
plural
populist party.
Labor swaps preference deals with the Greens and they both benefit. That's true or false? Is that true or false?
What's true is that the Greens tried to knock me off at the last election. I fought back and I made sure that we had fewer Greens in the Parliament, both here in the West, and of course I was out there campaigning with my good friends Renee Coffey and Madonna Jarrett and others to make sure that we had fewer Greens in the Parliament. That's what I want, because I've seen the Greens hold up too much, and I don't think that they've got the solutions that Australians want, nor do they have the practical ideas that make a real difference. So, I would say to all of your viewers, if you want a practical party, it's starting to look like the only choice left is Labor, because the Liberals are running out to be one of those populist parties that don't really care whether their ideas work. They just want to be on the populist fringe. And the Greens are a populist party too. I'm happy to. I'll come on every day.
But you don't mind them because you do preference deals with them. They're a more acceptable populist party.
So popular than preference by Labor.
Look, my criticism of the Greens are very broad. I think when you talk about housing, I think I don't know why you would vote for a Greens politician when you know that they're the ones who sat in the Senate last term and blocked practical housing measures. I think the reality is, I think Australia's been well served by, majority governments. And the problem is, Tom, the only party left that can offer a majority government is Labor, because now we've got the Liberal National
we're going to be hearing that a bit,
coalition.
All right.
You're going to have minority governments every time.
Hey, Tom, do I get to go too, or is this just the Tom and Pat show?
Well, we had a fair crack, I thought. All right, I want to ask you this, Jason, because, this will go well. Let's cast our minds back. The coalition time in office, with all this talk of tax reform at the moment, did you ever push for indexation of income tax to actually just lock in tax cuts permanently? Was that something you wanted the coalition to do, given we look at the landscape now and it's still this sort of piecemeal income tax cut approach?
Sorry, are you me personally or the Liberal Party?
Yeah.
Me personally? No, I don't. I don't agree with indexation of marginal of thresholds. I think that the problem is always economic theory has been very clear on this for a very long time. Decisions get made at the margins, so there's no point doing what the Howard government did, which was cutting income taxes down the scale but leaving the top marginal tax rate at what is effectively, Tom, very close to 60% in the dollar, 60 cents in the dollar. And because of that, you get people at the higher end of the income scale making decisions about whether they want to work more or spend more time on leisure. All the work done by Sir James Mirrlees back in the 70s and early 80s are indicative that people at the fairest type of income tax system is a flat tax of about 20%. And if you want to run welfare programs, it's best not to do that through tax rates, but through direct government programs and grants.
All right. We're kind of out of time now. Pat, very quickly, we're going to see all this extra tax that you're clearly raising, and you can just wink to confirm that. Are you going to put it out in income tax cuts or just prop up all the spending?
Tom, 15 sleeps, there'll be a budget, it'll have measures in it, and our focus is always on supporting the Australian people. That's been our focus for the last 4 years. We'll continue with that. But let me just say, and knock on the head, Jason's idea of a flat income tax rate is a terrible idea. Australia has benefited from progressive taxation, lower taxes on those who are earning less, and higher taxes on those who can afford to pay a bit more. I don't agree with that proposal.
They do pay more. They do pay more.
And I'd also note that no time since the founding of the Liberal Party have they actually implemented a flat tax policy because it's bad policy.
It's not bad policy. Okay, fine. It's not bad policy. It's absolutely not bad policy.
Well, then why is Angus Taylor doing it?
Again.
If it's such a great idea, Jason.
And by the way,
if it's such a great idea, why isn't Angus Taylor doing it?
The only people paying...
I regret not jumping in there. We are out of time. Jason, Patrick, we'll talk again next week. I think I